Hello, this is Krista Milazzo, and you're listening to the Chicago Singer-Songwriter Podcast.
Hey, this is Chris Dever, and you're listening to the Chicago Singer-Songwriter Podcast. I'm here with Krista Milazzo. Krista, how are you tonight?
Awesome.
Good. So we're way up north in, is this Loyola? Is that the neighborhood that we're in?
We are almost on the Loyola campus. We're a block away from it. We're in Rogers Park.
Rogers Park, right by the Red Line Tap.
Yep.
Is that right?
60626.
Now, why don't you tell, because most people probably know you from the promotion work you do, the Red Line Tap.
Some
right?
people, yeah. I am assisting the talent buyer at the Red Line Tap. So I get to bartend for the folks that attend the shows, promote the shows prior to attendance. Even sometimes get to interact with everybody who's interested. If they're coming into the bar, they're calling to see what's going on at the music venue.
So you're pretty ingrained in the Chicago music scene.
Newly ingrained, maybe. Yeah.
How long have you been in Chicago?
I will have been here 2 years in May.
And that's cumulative?
Yes.
Where were you at before that? Give us a little history of your travels. Where have you been?
Well, I was deciding to finish up some school in Indiana. And obviously very close to Chicago. While in school, all the field trips are, ooh, let's go to Chicago. So I thought it'd be very easy to just move up to Chicago when I was done. And it proved to be interesting. Not necessarily easy, not necessarily difficult. I got very lucky and landed with a group of like-minded musicians at Hostel Euphoria.
Oh, I've heard of that place. I think that Matt Norris guy that I interviewed
might
have some affiliation with those guys.
I met Matt at the hostel as well, yeah.
Very cool. Did you live there with them?
I did.
For how long?
I moved to Chicago with the idea of finding a place to live. So the idea was I would stay with some friends that I could still be me with while I was journeying out and apartment hunting and job hunting and whatnot. And after a couple of months of being at the hostel, I was asked to stay and host. And so instead of moving to a different place to live, I just moved to the hostel. So that was ironic, because it was very unexpected, but amazing.
So you moved right from the hostel, which is a very communal living environment, right to here?
Yes.
Which, again, is a very communal. You've got, 7 roommates?
7 roommates. Loyola students, either just graduated or continuing studies right now.
And before we started recording, we were looking for a spot that would be ideal acoustically. We settled on the front room just because it's got a cozy atmosphere. There's a lot of artwork on the walls and the windows right here. But you also hear there's like a hissing in the background. That's the furnace. Radiator. Keeping us warm, but it's got kind of like a warm tape hiss.
It does. Tape. It does. It definitely reminds me of New York. Radiant heating is everywhere.
But before we settled on this, we went downstairs to the basement, which you guys are hoping to turn into some sort of music venue. Is that right? We
are looking to use it as a shared practice and performance space. We have an established artist that's in the practice space as it is right now, but we have the availability to use it more for a 3 to 4 band bill, if you will. There's some space we could, even if we decided not to do downstairs, we could contemplate an outside acoustic kind of showcase. Just the idea that here we have this space, it's perfect acoustically for music and performance. What can we do with it going forward? The ability to, if bands are journeying to Chicago, the ability to open up that space and have them share it with us while we practice and perform. It's something that we can also do to increase awareness of local artists. If we can get some local artists to kind of collaborate on a show and have a performance, then we can introduce them to, especially people up in Rogers Park that maybe haven't taken notice of the Chicago scene.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting spot because you're sort of right by You're closer to Evanston than you are downtown Chicago. Does it feel more suburban to you than, like, say, the hostel did?
I got lucky with the hostel because we were in the middle of a residential neighborhood. Very much so, similarly, up here. It's very much like when you said when you were driving down, it was like residences.
Well, it's an interesting place because, like, on this, we're on, is it North Shore Avenue?
Yeah.
It's all huge apartment buildings with, like, multi-unit whatever for all the college students. And then you've got this, like, really cool house right in the middle of it, which is where we're at right now.
Right. It used to be a Loyola frat house. The idea was from the first owners that the landlord bought it from. They wanted to keep it intact. They didn't want it to be developed. So it is a house. Three lots from the beach right here. It's pretty amazing.
And you've not done a summer here yet, have you?
I have not.
Are you a beach bum? Like, are you going to spend a lot of time out there with your guitar just writing songs?
You can see the water from the porch. I won't even have to make it to the beach. I can just sit out on the swing out front on the porch and, kind of take that moment in the solitude to, decide, all right, this is what I'm working on right now. Is there something in this moment I need to do? It's also very, very relaxing to just hear the water right here. It kind of calms me, I would say, because the other, on the flip side in Logan Square, it was traffic and people and music and everything going amazing. This is just, it's a complete opposite. So it gives me time to reflect and, do maybe some analysis of the stuff that I was working on or that I learned while I was there, see if I can apply it in a different way here.
Are you at a point in your life right now where you need to reflect?
Yes, I think so. It's go time. It is trying to find the 3 or 4 more layers in terms of other artists that I need to work with to actually put these beginnings into some sort of creative compilation work product. I notice that's a lot of what, for me, which is very interesting, the scenes in New York and in Chicago and Indiana, the things that anybody in any city does is they put a compilation together. Here are the best. Here are the newest. Here are the most different. Here are the comparative people in this group. To be able to do something like that would be really fun for me.
So you surround yourself with musicians, you're friends with musicians, you're active in the music community, but you also write and perform yourself. Where did that start?
I was beginning to go to music festivals in Chicago. I just moved up here 2000, long time ago, and every neighborhood had a music festival. And so I could find a band that I liked and follow them this weekend to this neighborhood, the next weekend to this other completely different neighborhood, go down and, today they're playing in the Field Museum. Yay! See the city, but along with it, see the progression of an artist or a group of artists that I really, really respected and felt drawn to their music or drawn to their instrumentation. It made me decide, okay, what I need to learn about is music. How is it made? Why is it made? What does it sound like when it's made? And to do so, I had to learn how to do it. You can't write about music if you don't know how to make it.
And so you started with guitar?
Started with guitar.
And is that the only instrument you play?
It is, at the moment, the instrument I'm most proficient on. I also have worked on the cajon, the electric cello. Living at the hostel, to have a piano right there, the ability to learn piano is something so very new and it's amazing. But I've started to learn piano as well.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised when I talked to Matt Norris that he had just learned piano like right before he moved in there.
That's right.
And just having the thing in the front room to practice on every day.
Right.
Just he's the player he is now. He's fantastic.
Yeah, nowhere near as good as Matt on the piano at this point. Simply, if I would think about the hours of practice that he put in to play the piano, I didn't even have the ability to do that at that time because I was trying to figure out where I was and, wait, where do I have to be tomorrow and whatnot. He was able, though, to learn how to play an instrument because it was available, because he dedicated enough time to it. The interesting thing about the hostel is when people come through and are able to stay for an extended period of time, they're also able to do that kind of thing. We had a friend, Axel. She came in. She was attending a business conference somewhere in the city and just really needed to be around creative people while she did so. We would be, learning a new piece or learning something new every night. And to her, it really appealed to her. She was able to also sit down and, learn a Beatles song in her stay. And that taught her that she could really kind of do anything she wanted to do if she set her mind to it. To see something like that, it reinforced all the stuff that we were going through. If we practice this enough, when we go to perform, we will be able to do it,
Now, the people that you're living with now, are they musicians? Is there always somebody playing something here?
Yes, definitely. But not only is there the music learning going on or the music performance going on, I live in a house of academics. They are very committed to learning whatever it is that they're learning in school. I live with students. Is
there a conflict there? Like, are there certain hours that you just cannot play music because so-and-so needs to study?
It's not necessarily a conflict because we adjusted for it in the beginning. I knew that the hours that I would live and the life that I would lead would make it so that my prime practice hours were in the middle of the eve, in the very early morning and the late night. So I had to decide my room would be downstairs as opposed to living upstairs with everybody. So it's more of a, hey, let's be honest about what we're going to do, then let's respect the other people in the space, and then do what you got to do. Take care of you and make sure you're doing your thing. It's more independent than any other living situation I've been in.
Interesting. Well, let's listen to a little bit of what you sound like. The first song you're going to play for us tonight is called Someone.
Stops and tangents, I most definitely know. If you got a bet the bottom dollar, go ahead, there'll be no second chance, yet so far below. If you will, why you wonder, maybe lose your way, or at least find someone who will, hear you and what you have to say. About those numbers or those construction signs. I'm just hoping I can get you to dance across these crowded, disbanded lines. If you were why you wonder, maybe lose your way, or at least find someone who will, hear you and what you have to say. Falling forward into that underhanded quicksand of the night. Send me a smile or two till I can remember you by tomorrow's light. If you were why you wonder, maybe lose your way, or we should find, someone. The song Someone is about being wherever you were or wherever you are, but thinking about another place. And there's not a lot of something that you can do. Like if you're somewhere, that's where you are. You have to be present in that moment. And you can only hope the best for whomever or whatever it is that you're thinking about. it's hard for me. I've grown up a very competitive life, wanting to be like in the game or wanting to be by the game, to cheer the game on, and not being able to do that because I have responsibilities is one of the hardest things of, I guess, maturity. Learning to pick the thing that you have to do over the thing that you want to do. And so this song kind of is one of those moments where you're realizing that you're here, you're wanting to be somewhere else, you're wanting to do something else, and you can't. And then with time, you understand that everybody has that same feeling. And so it's kind of a conversation with someone who's having that first frustration of not being able to do in that immediate moment exactly what they want. Learning to, maybe if you just talk about it, maybe if somebody hears you, maybe if you're just recognized, hopefully that gets you through that moment.
Your guitar playing, you have an interesting way that you play guitar. It's finger picking.
Ish.
But it's not like a traditional finger picking. And that we were talking a little bit while we were setting up. It comes from how you learned how to play guitar.
Yeah. I learned how to play guitar in 2002. I had a guitar and not a computer. I didn't, we were still on, the big brick cell phones back then too, It was a different time. And if you were not instructed in how to do something, I trust me, I asked all around, well, how can I do this? How can I play this? And I was advised to pick music that I liked and to just take the instrument and try to make it do what I heard something else do. So I guess you could say that I play by ear in terms of the notes that I pick, but I had no video to see correct picking or correct strumming or whatnot. Literal things I've had to relearn. The hand plant for finger picking, you have to, stay above the bridge and stay rested and, be able to have that flexibility or dexterity. The hardest time because I'd almost gripped the sound hole and was trying to figure out from underneath, how could I do this? And, it affected the sound. The technique of how you play, it does affect your sound.
So who were you listening to back in 2002? Who inspired you at that point to start playing and singing?
It was a lot of radio, and I was following Humphreys McGee in the
Chicago band.
Yes.
Like a big underground band. It's weird. They haven't had that blow up national success.
I would say that's called, if I were to define it in promotional terms, that would be grassroots. Their distribution of their music was taping and or merch sales at shows. The thing that amazes me about how they've progressed in terms of their performance, it was these smaller, more intimate venues to 15, 16 years later, where they are selling out major music venues, not arena, but major music venues. And the proliferation of the music is still the same. It's still, bootlegs and YouTube videos and moments where what you hear is as if you were at the venue, as opposed to their studio works, which are amazing. And then the ability to even get those now is, online, digital downloads, that kind of music. To be able to hear them then and hear them now, it's completely different. I had to go from neighborhood to neighborhood to neighborhood to neighborhood to hear them, back in 2002, 2003. I had to go, if I was going to see, any kind of other band, it was in a smaller music venue, like something like Shuba's or the Empty Bottle. It was at the Empty Bottle that I heard Del Rey for the first time. It was a math rock band. And so that, I think, in combination with the seeing how Mumford Singh, like literally, like you could get up on the stage and see how they made music, amazing. And then going to these smaller venue shows where it was not improvisation, it was not people communicating about how they were doing it, it was a set, it was a performance, it was oftentimes no interaction with the crowd or whatnot, it was strictly music. That made me focus on audio work. And I was journeying to New York shortly after that, where I can't even tell you all the music I saw at that time. I remember being in the Brooklyn Museum of Art, and Anti-Ballas came in and, you know, played like for an hour just for the neighborhood, you know, and this was a world music group that, you know, horn, everything, just like dancing. I'd never experienced anything like that. From Lafayette, where we had a couple honky-tonk guys that would sit in the corner of a bar on a stool with no PA and thrill the crowd, you know? So the gauntlet of what music I've seen, what music has influenced me, it's always been radio. Those neighborhood festivals, and then a few bands that I just kind of followed. I had a trip back home. The most amazing trip was my trip from New York back home to Lafayette. See, when you go to New York, you have to know what you're doing. I say this all the time. It was true 10 years ago. It's true today. I'm hot cross buns, and everybody else is along the watchtower. I am just a step behind. It's amazing because I know I'll catch up, right? But while I'm in that kind of transitionary phase, the people that I perform for or the people that I make music with it's almost like an accident. I got rejected in New York and decided to go home and pursue academics as opposed to music. And I still continued to try to perform music, don't get me wrong, but it would be something like the bus ride home. I went to New York with 4 bags and a guitar, right? And I was coming back with the same thing at least. And I busted all the strings on my guitar the last month that I was in New York, and I refused to buy more. And until the week before I left. And of course I was like, you know, last string of the guitar in New York and, you know, whatnot. But because I did that, I was able to, in some random Pennsylvania bus stop, just, you know, we had a layover because of weather for like 2 hours on New Year's Day of 2006. And it was me and some dudes from the army and then some traveling folks that it just seemed like all they did was travel. They didn't go anywhere. We just passed my guitar around for like 2 hours, you know, and played songs for each other. I don't know them. I'll probably never meet them again. But that was the most enjoyable 2 hours of, you know, kind of my traveling ever. And so I think that's what music does. So I can't stop doing that, you know. I know I'll get the 12th performance. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know why it's going to be. And I'll just keep playing music in the meantime.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, this is kind of a performance. You're playing for, I think the podcast has like 100 or so listeners. So
very, very nervous for 2 weeks. I've been talking to all of my friends about it. What should I say? I got no lead. Like, what are we going to do? What are we going to talk about? You know? And I just kind of realized it's the first test, if you will, of am I going to talk about music? Am I going to talk about my music? Am I going to really do the thing that I said that I was going to do, which was learn how to perform so that I can tell people what performance is about? Yeah, so thanks, bud.
Sure thing. Let's listen to the second song that you performed. This one's called Snowflakes.
I fall so fast like silly snowflakes. I like your way better than all of mine. Yeah, my mistakes Oh, yo, you better watch the mind. It was quietly said, well, how was anybody going to know? I would not hesitate. He goes straight to my head. Well then, thanks to you, my feathered friends, it feels like I'm suddenly moving. I'm moving again to the little girl lullabies beneath those Christmas lights. And one day I'll know you better and maybe tell you why I tried. Till then, do what you gotta do, they say. Just figure out how to fix those wings, or how to fix those wings and fly. Till we say hi again. 'Cause I fall so fast like silly snowflakes. I like your way better than all of my my many mistakes.
Why did you pick this song?
So this is one of those songs. Remember that finger picking we were talking about?
Uh-huh.
This is a song that this is the first song I ever wrote. It has been through many drafts and variations and versions and renditions and whatnot. This is the one that's kind of stuck with me for like the last 10 years.
This version of the song.
Well, the in terms of the lyrics and the melody and kind of the tempo that I'm going for, the dynamic, if you will, that I'm going for with that verbiage. And it's been a vehicle for me to learn things. For example, I planted in a very peculiar way when I learned to finger pick in the beginning. And it wasn't until seeing a few YouTube videos where I could see that there was something off, but it took another 3 years for an instructor to literally say on that video, do not plant your hand like this. And it was, of course, exactly like I was doing it. Plant it like this. And so just that little transition of technique, it makes the sound in the song so much different. I think that's why I like this song. I think that's why I keep playing it. It is really the vehicle for my change.
When is a song done for you?
What is it done?
Yeah, like when is it done?
When?
Like how do you know a song is like at a good place?
So the 3 songs that I played for you today, they are all 16 years old. The last song is the newest song, and it is almost 3 years old. I don't think that songs end until you have a new song to play. And that's kind of where I got comfortable with the first song I'd done and couldn't really go anywhere at that moment with it, but I really wanted to play. I really wanted to do something new, and I started learning a new scale. And from that scale, I was able to come up with this just random pattern of notes that I like, and I work on that. And I'll do a song again and again and again and again and again and again until I feel like it's the way that it's supposed to be. I don't know if that means it's because I'm so, like, right now I'm singer-songwriter solo, and my songs will change once I find a band. And then at that point, I'll say that these songs are done. Those are done. That's really the only way I think they're done, if you walk away from them.
Now, your songs are pretty short. I mean, 2 to 3 minutes a piece.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have long compositions, or do you keep them short?
I learned to play a Green Day song.
What Green Day song?
I don't even know the title. I'm so bad with artist names and titles of songs, lyrics in general, right? It was a Green Day song, I hope you had the time of your life.
Good riddance.
Good riddance. Yeah. And then I learned how to play a Dave Matthews song. And the idea that I could hear what I heard on the radio and then kind of find these like little patterns of notes that sounded similar. Obviously, I have no idea if they're right or not. It allowed me to think that I could create songs. And so you have to think about radio time, because that's what I was playing along with. 2 to 3 minutes. That's radio time. So the songs that in my mind I can sing 2 to 3 minutes for whatever reason, because I'm following what's already been.
Now, in the hypothetical future, you have a band backing you up. You get them in. They're learning your songs. Do they stay the way you wrote them, or do you add in musical interludes? Do you add in new lyrics? Or do you try and keep it true to what you wrote it as?
I foresee me meeting a bassist and a guitarist and a drummer and a keyboardist, potentially alternative percussion, and we do completely different songs than the songs I've ever done.
Still stuff that you're writing, though?
The idea that I could contribute verbiage, totally. The idea that I could learn to document the melodies that I can produce vocally or with an instrument and, contribute to the composition, totally. Like, I would be in for that. The thing that I want to do is to sing. And that is very much dependent upon something already being written, if you will. The idea that the music is there and all you have to do is learn the music. That's kind of what a vocalist does. The only reason I'm playing guitar is because I couldn't find someone to accompany me. I wasn't gonna wait. So I think it's gonna be totally different. It's not gonna be like anything I've done. What I want to do, though, is say, hey, here's a voice you can hear. Hey, here's what I can do when I don't know what I'm doing. And maybe that appeals to somebody, and organically they can see that fitting in to their project, rather than me saying, I want to write all these songs, and then I'm going to find all these musicians to perform them, and then we're going to have this amazing band career and whatnot. It's really about, I think it has always been about me finding my place, or being able to learn to do the thing that makes me able to sing. I'll learn music theory if I have to. I'll learn to compose. The lyrics are already there. Do I have many, many lyrics that I would love to throw down? Totally.
So somebody comes to you with a song and says, here's what we've got as a band. We have the musical bed for this. Do something with it. You can come up with the lyrics and the melodies and that kind of stuff. Yeah. Nice. And
then I've been told the only other thing I need is gear. I have to get a vocal mic.
That's easy.
I know, right? That's the easy part.
They're giving them away out there.
Anybody wants to sponsor me, that'd be awesome.
Right? Same here. Anybody wants to sponsor this podcast, let me know. I could use some new mics too.
Right?
So the last song you played tonight doesn't have a name yet.
It doesn't have a name yet. It's the Untitled. I don't know, maybe that's the name.
This raining man is kinda killing me. Softly, was not prepared to see it falling. And this weatherman must be misleading me, 'cause I can feel it falling. And what if we are the hands of time? Could there be no end in sight? Just another day for the books to take effect and maybe even perfect me to be. 'Cause all the signs I read, the ones I know, I was taught to throw oh so perfectly. And what if we are the hands of time? Could there be no end in sight? Just another day for the forms to rearrange, maybe even exchange in review. And maybe then everything I learn, every page I turn won't just remind me of you. 'Cause what if we are the hands of time? Could there be no end in sight? Just another day.
What about Hands of Time?
Hands of Time. So this song is a wayback machine for me. It is a reminder of lessons being taught, things that I had to learn along the way, understanding that it's totally the effect of an education. I was all in my brain for the longest time, not applying anything, totally theoretical. And once I began to literally learn by doing things and could understand how much more they were reinforced and whatnot, understanding that the things that we do with our hands is sometimes the most important thing that we can do, and always thinking before we do anything, not just being intuitive with that. The idea that the things that we do are often more important in our linear progression or our linear judgment or whatever you want to call it than the things that we just think about. And so just being, kind of conscious of that. It's also reminding myself to practice.
How often do you play your guitar?
I try to play every day. I try.
For how long?
It depends. I don't have a lot of time. The older I get, for whatever reason, the less time I have for the things I need to learn, the things I need to do. I am definitely more, and it also, I can see it progressionally with the longer I stay in Chicago, the longer I care about other people, the longer I do things for other people, the longer I'm trying to establish my place here, the less music I play.
I've been finding that lately too. It's like whenever I have free time, instead of spending that doing things that I already do and just spending more time on them, I pick up new projects. Right.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's because we do things to learn. It's Groundhog Day. I know it's a silly analogy, but the idea that if all you do is pursue one thing every day, you become a maestro in it. And it either opens you up to other opportunities to learn new things, or in some way you are appreciated more for doing that thing. That, I guess that's the impetus. You pick one way or the other based on that. And it's not that people don't love what I do when I do music. Like, my roommates love that I play music in the house. My friends love that I go out and I sing songs for them. Anybody that I'm meeting in relation to music, my story about why I make music or why I have made music or what I want to do to help people make music, all of that makes us connect in some way. So I know it's something that I have to devote time to. But there will be days where I'm literally just trying to figure out, who can I talk to promote this band? Who can I introduce to a new venue? Who can I help literally just directions to the L? Sure, just like this. Boom. And that's something that, like, full circle back to the first song that I sang, it's all of these little pieces of information. If you put them together in the right way, they communicate this big picture. And you don't mind the music, because it's not quite music, it's just a little, it's melodic noise right now, right? And I'll get some more timing, I'll get some more notes in there, and then it'll be like Del Rey, like this perfect polyphonic arrangement of all these wonderful sounds that are off and then coming together at this one point, making a composition, something that is a real work of art. I'll get to that point. I don't know if it has to do with practice. I think it does. So it might take a little longer. I'm a late bloomer, whatever.
You're doing some recording of your stuff, taking little snapshots of it, kind of being able to hear it back. Yeah. Has that inspired you to, like, as you're listening to it, do you hear other things going on top of it that you're not hearing when you're just playing it? Totally.
And that was an artist that I have a brief acquaintance with, Meg McDuff. She said, you must always record your jams so that you can see in review all the little nuances. When you play, you're more in the moment, and you're focusing on maybe a particular movement at that time. Movement being, you might be trying a new progression, you might be trying a new rhythm, you might be doing all these new things on this time when you play it. And if you listen to it, you can see or hear if it works or if it doesn't work, and adjust to that. The ability to also record with an application that then can immediately distribute that allows for some real field feedback. Like, is this something that I should continue to do? Or, is this something that's appealing? Or have I totally gone from noise to music to not really an end product, but just something beautiful that people like? That'll determine what my next projects are, I think. And so I record so that I know, but I also record so that I can share those things and other people can kind of direct me.
Speaking of feedback, you're pretty active on Facebook, but you also do a lot of face-to-face interaction with people, promoting and whatnot. For musicians out there that are maybe just playing in their bedrooms right now and are looking to get out and get their songs out there, what do you recommend?
It's really hard because a lot of people don't have extra time. And to, like we talked about with practice, to really be successful, you have to have that extra time and you have to devote it to that thing. Promoting is not about promoting a product. It's about promoting your story. And to promote your story, you first have to meet people that you're interested in telling that story to, or meet people that are interested in hearing your story. And so it's not even about in the bedroom, sitting there, practicing and becoming very comfortable with this thing that you're recording. It's about making sure that, okay, now you've journeyed down the stairs to the living room where you've invited all of your friends over, and they show up because they like you, because they're interested in what you're doing. So I think it's more important for people to record with other people than it is to record anything solo. And that's kind of like a hard thing to maybe be okay with, because people want their recording to be their work product, as opposed to have this recording be this thing that they can learn from and progress from.
So when people ask your story, what's your story? When you meet somebody, you say, "Hey, I'm Krista. This is me." Give us an example of a good story.
A good story. Oh, geez. A good story.
Because I hear that all the time, too.
My go-to story. All right, the go-to story is one time in Lafayette, Indiana. The local high school was having auditions for chorus, and we were in grade school. And the chorus was for The Wizard of Oz. And so they rounded a bunch of us up, and they're like, okay, we're going to give you a character right before you go in there, and you have to do that character. And I was very familiar with The Wizard of Oz. So I was like thinking I could do this character, piece of cake. I'm totally going to audition. And I went, and they pulled me into the audition room, and they said, okay, show us courage. And I was like, what's courage? And they were like, next.
Wow, that quick, huh? They just dismissed you? Man.
And it took me many, many, many years to understand direction is not like, this is step 1, this is step 2, this is step 3. It is, I have this idea. I'm going to try to communicate it to you. And you have to say to me, I should have said something like, well, what kind of courage do you want me to show? As an adult, I know that. If I were to go on an audition today, get some lead, a little direction, whatnot. That's not the mind of a child.
Right.
And that was the year that, it's 10, 11, 12, everybody's being exposed to the arts, and they're trying to see if you have any kind of artistic ability. Like, where is it at? Where do we put you? And it was theater first and orchestra second. And I got to play the cello. And so that kind of trial and huge error and then, amazing experiment after led me to know, regardless of anything that was going on, I at least had some musical aptitude. And I could try and try and try and try and try with that until I didn't want to try anymore. And that's my story.
And do you see yourself getting to a place where you don't want to try anymore?
No.
You getting burned out yet?
No. I've sing the same song for 16 years. I thought about that the other day. I can't believe I've sang it for 16 years, but every time I sing it, it's different. You mean even when we were trying, like, 4th take, 5th take, what, 6th take? Like, no. You would think I know this by now, but it's the beauty of music.
Keeps it fresh, yeah. What inspires you?
It really depends. I have to be paying attention to be inspired. And it's very hard for me to focus my attention for a specific amount of time, especially if someone else is to be in the role that they're playing is to be the center of attention. I'm often more focused. For example, I spend a lot of time around performers and people having performances, and that's what I focus on. And it's not till, 3 days later when I hear myself like, remembering the fog from that one band with the blue light and this atmospheric ambiance melody. And they were like from Germany, doom metal, yeah. Then I realize I've been inspired without understanding really what it is that they were doing.
So it's all about that reflection and
yeah,
taking time to reflect, really.
Exactly.
Slowing down and
yeah.
saying, hey, wait a minute, something happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? Oh, yeah, how did that affect me?
Right.
And that turns into your artistic endeavors, whatever they might be.
Exactly, yeah.
Very cool. So what plans do you have for this year, artistically, musically?
So I would love to have a collaborative community who's created a space for, after Independence Day, kind of fusion salons where we think about the music that we're doing at that moment. We go see as much music as possible, and we in some way are collaborating on a project where I get to do vocals. That's the one beauty of studying composition in English and writing, is you understand it's not about what you do as long as you do it. And if you're looking at the end product of people that are doing the same thing that you want to do, you find inspiration, even if you don't realize it at the moment. So if you want to write, you read. If you want to play music, you go see people playing music. That's what I'm going to do this year.
Just soak it in and see what comes out of
I've
it.
got, starting this week, there's an Humphreys McGee couch tour coming up. So for me, that's amazing because I get to, take a moment and be like, wow, that's what it looks like when you put all the time in. That's what it sounds like when you put all the time in. And then this is literally how you help people to see it through the technology that we have now that was not back then. And then being able to be at the Red Line to see music performed every night, to get to know the artists that perform it. I get to hear it reflectively as well. I usually get to snag a cassette or a CD of some sort. I try to get to open mics. I've only been doing local open mics up here in Rogers Park. I'm hoping to branch out and do that again once it's warm and I can travel.
Yeah, I've been meaning to make it up to Red Line's Hat, but for the same reason, it's just so damn cold.
Yeah.
It took me like an hour and a half to get up
One
here.
day there won't be 2 foot of snow on the ground still.
Yes, looking forward to it. This
Flip-flops!
This time of the year, February is just brutal. It's like enough. I'm done with winter.
Right.
So are there any bands out there that are touring or performing or really into?
The thing that I got to do when I was back home in Lafayette was study. To take a break from that, I would go into the local music scene there. So I got very much into a local DJ. There were many local artists performing at a local open mic. And then there were 2 music venues promoting different types of music. All genres as much as they could. I should take that back, 3 if I include Elliott, all music up there on the west side. I was able to catch these glimpses of 2 or 3 bands that I'd never seen before. And again, unexpectedly or ironically, whichever word you want to pick, I'm getting to see them at the Red Line. So they're now becoming invested in the Midwest, and they're out and they're touring and they're making sure that their music's heard. So there's a Mound Builders show coming up in March, and then I got to put one show together for the Hostel. I got to see 2 of the bands from that show perform at the Red Line. That was Amateur and Communion. And then the idea that there are possibilities for other singer-songwriters from Lafayette to come up and for us to say, do something like a $10 CTA busking license gives us the ability to perform in the platform for a day and maybe do some crowdfunding from both Lafayette and Chicago to get us some time during that week to either do some recording in the city with some local places like Music Garage or any of the local recording artists. I've got a friend, Eric Lobo, who's doing some recording. You could get in and record with him. And then have that moment be the moment where we record something new. I've got a friend, Brady Joseph, who's looking into doing something like that, bringing some of the open micers up. And we could do just like 2 or 3 open mics. And then we could have a singer-songwriter showcase here at the house. And then we could go and, maybe coincide that with some local bookings at either up here in Rogers Park or anywhere in Chicago. The ability that you could, do your music like as your profession. I know people that want to do that. I would love to help them do that, and I get to see local bands as well. I've got a friend who's she's in the band Bloom. Sam Larson, she's the lead singer for Bloom. Again, ironically, her new drummer is a singer-songwriter that I know from back home. But I only knew him as a singer-songwriter. I didn't know that he would play the drums. And it's like you hear him now on this new LP, and it's like this perfect layer to her singing that you'd never heard before. So local people working together with people from out of town, even being able to see some stuff like that. It's going to be amazing. I know that's not a lot of specifics. But
No, but it gives people a general idea that you are somebody that you're a great facilitator. You make things happen. You bring people together.
That's a good call. Yeah.
So people that want to get in touch with you, where can they find you online?
Twitter.
And what's your Twitter handle?
Krista L. Milazzo. Kristal Milazzo.
So stop whatever you're doing. Pull up your Twitter. Go follow Krista. Look forward to many projects in the future and seeing what the music room downstairs looks like once it's finished. Seeing your friends and your fellow artists performing and recording and
Yeah, buddies.
just making dreams come true and staying inspired. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, Krista, thank you so much for sitting down with me tonight.
Thanks, Devin.
Loved hearing your
Yeah,
songs
buddy.
and seeing your home. Sounds like it's going to be a big year for you.
Thanks, bud. Hope so. Fingers crossed, yeah.
And for any other singer-songwriters out there, if you're interested in being featured on the podcast, shoot me an email at chicagosingersongwriterpodcast@gmail.com. Look for me on Facebook, Twitter, the iTunes Store, Stitcher, and any other podcast apps. Keep writing and keep playing, Chicago.